Welcome! So, this second week in January, and we are still going strong this year, 2026. I'm so excited. So for this second week, I thought, what better way to start the year than to give you a resume of what happened late last year when we had our Streamathon. Streamathon was 5 days, and it was like 3-hour streams every single day, 15 hours in total of knowledge that you could soak up from so many professionals. So we thought, what better way to start this year than to give you a compressed version of that Streamathon, because there was so much knowledge, and I know a lot of you don't have the time and want to find out exactly what happened that week. So this video is for you. So without further ado, let's get to it. Please let me know in the comments if you guys know about USD. I think it might be worth you breaking down what USD does, because I think a lot of people in the stream right now, they probably don't know that USD actually involves animation as well. I think most people know USD as modeling, but through Mike, I actually didn't even know this. Mike was the one that told me that you can actually export animations through USD, and it means that it's universal for every software, and it's amazing. So please, Mike, elaborate.
Yeah, so USD, it's the Universal Scene Descriptor, is a very, very powerful file format. It was made by Pixar, and we've actually worked with Pixar and NVIDIA, who make the Omniverse, and we've been very USD forward, along with people like Houdini and, again, like Pixar. But what USD allows you to do is it holds data in layers. That's why the logo you can even see is it has to do with layers. So you're able to work in layers non-destructively, and the more layers you add, you can add more data. So like right now with Cargo's USD, we hold a lot of data. We can hold instancing data, we hold geometry data, we hold all sorts of texture data. We also use Material X, which holds all the material and shader data that gets put across all these DCCs. So then you have this one source of truth, and that's the USD file, rather than passing along a bunch of FBX files or OBJs, or all that stuff can get broken, and there's only so much data that it can hold. But to your point, Harvey, what we can then do is add in different data layers depending on how we expand what we're able to do, one of which is the animation. So we've already done a lot of testing, but it's with USD, you can hold all sorts of data, whether that's rigging data, animation data, modeling data, texture data, UV coordinates, all that stuff, to where you can pass it along to other DCCs that have a USD importer. And a lot of the times we make sure that it's premium, right? So we may actually have to update some things to make sure that Maya or Max or Blender can translate this stuff universally to where it actually perfectly goes across. So if you download something in Unreal, it looks the same as if you download something, that same asset, into Maya and Redshift, and it has the correct shader network, or it passes along keyframes, or it passes along rigging data. That's all stuff that's now available to us to do in the future, as we expand what we're capable of doing.
If you don't mind, Rex, I'd like to go to Daniel now, because I know Daniel has a different perspective, because he's a freelance animator working in Germany for a Japanese studio. So it's almost like the opposite of what you're talking about. So maybe we can have the same question for you, Daniel, about how do you actually make the jump to freelancing, and how do you find it to actually work for a Japanese studio in Europe, in the West?
So on one side, I can super relate to you, Rex, because this entire, being flexible, being like a sponge, learning a lot and redefining yourself, changing your own style to what it was 2 years ago, learning new tools. All this is a big part of my life. Always has been, even when I started out. I've been with studios at the start, with film studios, with Framestore, with Weta Digital for a long time, and at some point, you gotta make the decision what it is that you want to make, and what kind of, you're kind of like trying to find the style and the stuff that you enjoy most making, and it's already hard to find that, right? But once I had an inkling that I knew, like, okay, I need to steer into this direction a little bit more, into, just because I can express stuff more, or I feel like it's more aligned with myself. That's when I, made the decision to join the games industry and leave the film industry for now, and started freelancing for Riot, started freelancing for Moon, and freelancing for Unseen now. And so I think how it comes to that is through your network, the network that you build throughout the years, and you try to grow that network and know as many folks as possible, because it's just amazing to exchange all this experience, and especially when in an industry where you need to constantly learn, you need to constantly grow, you can't really stop. At some point, I guess, you don't want to stop anymore. You want to keep learning, you want to keep knowing new things, and that's when I found the indie games industry. That's when I even swapped then from AAA to indie games, and I love this industry so much because the ideas, the workflows, the studios, it's just a lot faster, it's very intense, and I guess that's how I ended up at Unseen at the moment, because it's one of the projects that is very expressive. It's very, it's going to be an amazing project when it comes out, and it lets me express a lot of the things that I always wanted to do, basically, in the style. And then working for Japan, of course, there's the time zone difference, but there's a lot of animators here in Europe, actually, with me. The animation director is here as well, so that makes it a bit easier within the discipline, but it also still synergizes very well with the Japanese time zone. It also did with the LA time zone for Riot. It comes down to how you handle the things. It's not like, I wouldn't say that a 12-hour time zone difference is a deal breaker at all, because it comes down to how you work and how you can work. And I have a family, I have 2 kids, I have a wife, I have other responsibilities apart from work as well, and they are very important for me, and it's doable. So I guess that's why I enjoy the freelance work at the moment a lot.
One of the questions that I had for you guys before we go into the Q&A with the chat is very much that, what do you think, and we're going to go in reverse order now, but you guys have to deal with animation nagging you for more buttons and more pipelines and more tools and more plugins and things like that. And then you have the art department nagging you for, better deformation. Can we add more things? Can we add more cloth? Like Emilio, we had capes in Fable, we had like feathers, we had like bows and arrows and nymphs and fairies. It was so many things, right? And basically every time you see that coming, it must be very much like a nightmare coming your way, because you need to solve issues. And then you have the implementation in game, you have the rigging, the skeletal mesh, and like the logic and stuff. So would you say that being a tech animator is very much like being an entrepreneur in a company, where you have to actually have a bunch of different things, a bunch of different know-how, and also like knowledge and passions in different ways? And how do you deal with everybody wanting something from you? And on top of that, you have to fix things that are broken, because there's things being broken everywhere. So how do you keep sane, even though you have to do so many things? So we'll go with Emilia first for this answer.
I think the key thing about this, what it moves me, Amores and Brad here, or anyone, is just passion. It's just, we really love what we do. And when we're doing crazy things, the more the merrier. I'm the one just getting into trouble myself because I want to do more. I want to do this again, and I never get enough. Never get enough. It's challenging, whatever. Just at the end, we're serving as a technical animator. We're serving mostly animation, but there's a lot of 3D departments that you have to really respect and just treat as best as you can. And so eventually, the final goal is always the game. But you're there, you're pivotal element, with so many departments, and really find myself, even the simplest of the task, whatever, it's just it's something that really moves me and motivates me just to, because every single part of what you do as a technical animator that's going to go through, it comes from whatever, and it goes all the pipeline, all the departments until it comes to you. You're doing your part, as small as it could be. It goes into the game, and that is actually, at the end of the day, it's just just get it there and get it done. As simple as it could be, it's just one step closer to the final goal. That's actually finishing off the game. And so it doesn't really matter if it's small, it's as big as a huge character, or some kind of demolitions or rigging or anything like that. Is actually something that you really so passionate about that it doesn't really matter, right? Solving problems, everything is broken. The rig is going to be broken 1,000 million times. Most of the times it's user errors anyway, because we're awesome here, right? But all those things, it's what really drives you in a way that I think is essential in game development, just to love what you do. And it doesn't matter about how old you are and how young you are or whatever. Just always being challenge to yourself, and just technical animators, we are here to serve. I think I'm just really want animation just to be better. If I can do the best for it, I'm gonna try to do it. So there's, and always just challenge yourself. The software is always changing. More and more software, more stuff. It's never ending, and that's the key, right? Just always reinventing yourself and caring about it.
Yeah, no, I feel the same way. The only what I would say there as well, on to actually add to what you guys said, is that some of the things that I've seen is that if you want to be a cinematic animator in games, it's easy because you don't have to learn much. You just have to do the same thing. But to be a gameplay animator, which is normally the most valuable animator that you can be in games, because obviously it's all about the game in the end. It's difficult because you need to really love games. You probably can see that from Kevin and Mustafa. Like, they really love and breathe this thing to build systems and stuff. And I think that what I found through time is that sometimes, because cinema and film in general has very linear pipelines, you just animate and then you give it to somebody else and then they do the thing and stuff. You are normally used to basically just either being told what to do via a storyboard and you do it, or your supervisor maybe tells you what to do and then you do it, and then it's done, you move on to the next thing. In games, it's not linear. It's like a circle that with the being at the engine in the middle, and everything gets pumped inside the engine. And because it's not linear, it confuses a lot of people that come from film, because they don't understand why they can just make one animation and then go in the game and then it's done, right? It doesn't work that way. And most film animators that I've seen that fail when they come to games is mostly because of that. It's like, there's so much iteration, most likely Kevin now that is building systems, and then Mustafa with going back and forth with the designers with rematch and stuff. How many times do you guys think you had to redo the animations?
You have to accept that you will have to redo it now, and maybe next month, and maybe 4 months from now, when maybe they discover a bug, maybe they discover something better to do with the systems, maybe they optimize some things, maybe they change their mind. So you have to accept that and embrace it, and that's why you must be agile and nimble, and try to get to the point very fast, to help people around you visualize the things that we are trying to build quickly. And as we say, get it in the game. It is true. Sometimes it's difficult to do it, but you should be conscious of that, and you should be accepting that your work gonna be challenged every day.
I want to kind of close this by asking you guys about like the future of animation or the future of YouTube and being an entrepreneur, because we all are here one way or the other. And I think there's a lure or appeal for anybody that is right now an animator that perhaps is struggling to find a job because the industry is in a difficult position. And I think when they look at us, they can see that we build a brand, we build a name, and perhaps things are easier for us, which is not totally untrue. Things are not easy for sure, but you know, the visibility helps, right? So for anybody out there that is thinking, should I do this? And how hard is it? And is this the future? And is this going to help me in the future? And have all those questions in their minds. What would you say to that person that is actually going through these feelings and thoughts right now? And I'll start with Pierre because he has a smirk. He has strong opinions about it.
Yeah, we had again this conversation before. Definitely building an audience, wherever your ambition online are, is super important. It will make a difference as an animator or whatever. So you got to share what you do as much as possible. Don't wait to have like the best showreel in the world before you start putting it out, because you know it might not have the attention the moment you put it out. Then as an entrepreneur, what I would say is that things takes time. So if you want to be an entrepreneur, make sure you do what you like, because all the moment where you're struggling with money or with motivation, etc., there's only the passion left, you know, and that's the only way to put the extra work to maybe succeed at some point. And then, I'm not super worried about the future of animation. It's evolving, and I also think there are a lot of good reason of the current crisis in the animation world because of COVID and, you know, all that happened at this time. So I feel like it's kind of balancing slowly. And yeah, I mean, we see like all big companies, everybody have an Instagram, LinkedIn, a YouTube channel. So if you want to build a brand, or if you want to be a professional, do what everyone's do as a professional. Create your brand, and you know it will scale up with you at your own pace. But you know it's part of the job now, you know, being online.
If you enjoyed the video or found it helpful, go ahead and hit the like button. If you super enjoyed it, leave a super thanks. It's like leaving a little tip, and it directly supports the channel. If you haven't already, subscribe and turn on post notifications so you can continue to see my videos and get your weekly dose of betterness.